Right. There's a lot here, and diversity is not an easy subject, and I've set this up so that I remind myself to be careful of just how much there is, and you have to just sort of do one thing at a time, and probably with the practice, practice really makes it so that you practice, and then you can do this in, I'd say, a minute a concept. But I'm not timing myself, and the truth is I still need to what do you call it? Discuss those two, write about them. But yeah, cool, it worked. So the first idea of diversity is what do you call it? Like culture. Well, different cultures matter, and okay, that's dumb, but yeah, it's true. And a culture is made up of values. It's a values system, and not every culture is the same. There's some things that are transcultural, like these dimensions of, oh, you can't even see it, of being a person. The positive psychotherapy balance model has these different kind of dimensions of a person, and each concept you can help to imagine it better, more better if you do. So anyway, I like these pictures. It's a good reminder that there's a real history for every ethnic group. We're almost out of this. There's Frederick Douglass. He's the most photographed man in history. He really wanted pictures of himself taken so that everybody knew that he existed. Okay, that's first things first, right? But yeah, this is trust building stage of any counseling. So the counselor, well, actually, really any developmental situation has trust building as its first thing, and part of that is recognizing that there are differences. One of those being religion, and hey, just throw it in there. This really shouldn't take that long, but then once you get into it, you realize that you have to go on a case-by-case basis, and it's easy to, it's easy to say, oh yeah, the oneness is, right? But like, that's what this is all about, is that there's really no solution, and saying that almost diminishes the diversity. Right, here we go. Because there's really no solution to diversity. Everybody's going to be different. This is for the coffee. Oh, right. And everybody also has different something that they get. The haves and the have-nots. But that's not really what I'm talking about here. It's almost very, it's insulting to one's intelligence. What do I do with this? To talk about slavery and, well, not even, I mean, yeah, like, I know that, like, look, reparations were given to all the Jewish people for years and years. They paid them, literally paid them, and there's no way that you can ever really repair the 10 million people that were killed in the Holocaust. However, the reparations were a start, and I learned this, that there was actually reparations paid into in the 90s. Look at this. This is cool. This is the horse-drawn carriage that slave owners used to have, like 100, 200 slaves given to, just because like that's just what they would do. And there was a lot of slave labor in the Holocaust, and so there had to be reparations, not only for well, the 90s was all about like the Swiss banks and all that, but yeah, the point being that black people deserve reparations checks, and just like write the check, because it's only going to get harder and harder. But that's not really what we're talking about here. We're talking about intergenerational wealth, and when you're talking about diversity, you don't even want to like discuss that. I just saw this thing on Almond for with 15 cents on the dollar. That's how much the wealth is for people of, I'm going to get the oven on. That's the discrepancy, the wealth gap. I think that Asian people are pretty well to do, but then, you know, there's other minorities as well, like all sorts of minorities. South Americans, they don't really make that much, but like as far as like literal wealth. But there's all kinds of nepotism that people inherit. So I'm creaming I don't know why you do this. Well, I do know why you do this. It's because you're trying here to make the wet with the dry. Oh, right. Okay. Cronyistic situation. That's very good to talk about with diversity, because we all know that the Third Reich was actually, it's like, why are you even talking about war and all that? I'll tell you why. It's because diversity is really a big issue, and people literally died for equality. That is something that kind of should motivate the desire for diversity, but like it's not enough just to do it, and that's kind of where well, what does cronyist have to do with it? Well, that's all about like trust building. That's easy done. I know everything now that I've built my trust, and I don't need anybody else. I have everything that but like, what is this? I don't even know. I guess they're cronies and they're going to get some extra geese. I could do a lot more peanut butter than that. I like peanut butter. This is a cool one. There's a fallacy in thinking about stuff. That's what everything is. The fallacy is isomorphic. I could do even more than that. So science is built on molecular qualities, like, you know what I mean, like molecular stuff, and then there's also molar qualities, like not like from a chemist's point of view. You have a mole of molecules, and that's 6.023 times 10 to the 20 something 10 to the 23. So that's a lot of molecules in a mole of a molecule, or in a mole of atoms, and that's pretty standard. That's how many molecules there are in a mole. And so molar quality, like being a human, oh man, if you knew how many moles of atoms like are in, I'm not going to start doing math, but you can really get confused. And the point being that molecules, there are emergent properties in a molar quality to something. Like, for example, a house it's a brick house, and that's the fallacy, is that you call it a brick house. That's a lot of peanut butter, I'm telling you. If I had a whisk, but it's over there. So yeah, disability culture is all about, well, since the President H.W. Bush said the Emancipation Proclamation of the disability was the ADA, and since then, and since forever, those who are part of disability culture recognize that they aren't defined by their biomedical molecular quality of some deficit. That's called the deficit model. Wow, I can't wait to have some coffee and not talk about this for a little while. This guy is so lazy, can't even move on to the next slide. So yeah, that's my problem, is that am I missing something, or is that it? That's all that it takes to make these? Are you serious? That's it? Oh right, there's this doesn't have anything to do with diversity. I mean, I guess it does, but disability is just so not relevant. Same with gender. Yeah, equality of femininity and masculinity. Okay, that's good, and yeah, we have to like make an effort and all that. However, especially white people, they will say, yeah, I'm diversity because I've had oppression. And talk about oppression. I'm not going to get into females. So female people are those who have historically experienced much more oppression, and that just doesn't have to do with diversity. It has to do with equality. I think it has to do with like fight for equality. But yeah, there's other things about it. There you go. Don't mix it up too much. Dumb guy talking to himself. Wow. Well, there's no question. This is going to be really good. I could have. Wow, what is this? Looks like a little snowball. You know what? I'm just going to throw all the flour in there. I know, it's like, why does this all look so white? So a click is when you make a scapegoat or something, I don't know. I think that's a big part of clicks, but I also think that there's a lot of similarity and completion and everything that the click offers. And the unfortunate truth is that it sort of falls into a cronyistic situation where but it is with more than just the two crony entities. In fact, it's really not. It's really exactly the same, because the cronies always have somebody that is disadvantaged. But I guess that in-house doesn't really disadvantage anyone. It's just like, why would you even want to be a part of that? Well, I'll tell you why. It's because there are. What am I doing? I'm trying to. Oh, knife. Yeah. Click on next. I'm trying to illustrate something with clickishness, and I just totally lost it because all of a sudden I realized that I'm almost done here and I need to get on with it. But yeah, there's something about what would make somebody desire to be part of an in-housey clique. Especially when they aren't disadvantaging any other group. They aren't. The clique is just all dressed up the same or something. They all have the same cultish thinking, and they all believe in, I don't know what, like, oh, they're all preps, so they're all, like, why would you even want to be a prep? Okay, whatever. I guess that's the truth about in-house cliquishness, is nobody cares about them. So it's kind of very isolationist, and that's why it's relevant to diversity, because it kind of takes away from it. But as you get older, you realize that these things don't really matter that much anymore, and there's much less cliques as you go through the concepts of the concepts of diversity. And a lot of people had the cookies already. Like, they see how many are missing now. And there was people who were in different ethnic groups. Like, there was Alaskan natives. I think he said it's Athabascan. And a female. And she told us about her family's history with developmental disability. What are they? Oh, different religions too. Ate the cookies, and what are some other just diversity concepts? Look at the notes. Oh. I guess that's it. There's some other